Brajkovich, winemaker at Kumeu River Wines in Kumeu, just outside of Auckland in New Zealand. We've been making wines here since 1944, and our main emphasis these days is Chardonnay. In fact, we produce 5 different Chardonnays. They all come from vineyards in the area of Kumeu, and these are heavy clay soils that are very well suited to that variety. We are a distinctly cool climate, even though we're fairly far north in New Zealand. The proximity of the oceans, both to the east and west, keep our temperatures very moderate and allow the flavours to develop very, very well. In the vineyard we have meticulous management, from shoot trimming, leaf plucking, keeping things very much under control and keeping the vigour of the vineyards under control, and then hand harvesting the fruit so that we only take the best and we can do a very severe triage in the vineyard. The fruit arrives at the winery in very good condition, then it's whole bunch pressed to make sure we get only the gentlest pressing, then settled juice, then that juice goes into fermentation, normally in barrels, but also some of the wines are made in tank. We only use wild or indigenous yeast fermentation, followed up with a malolactic fermentation to modify our typically quite high acids, and then a long period of aging on the lees to modify the quality to allow the real character to develop in the wines. The first Chardonnay I'm showing here today is the Village Chardonnay, which is more like a Chablis or Macon style. It's very mineral, very fine, very acid, and goes beautifully with seafood. The next is the Estate Chardonnay, which is a blend of 6 different vineyards, all in Kumeu, all with their own different characters and different personalities, but blended together they give us a real nice, rich and creamy and textured wine that ages very, very well indeed. Next is the first of our single vineyard wines, and this comes from the Coddington Vineyard between here and Waimaku, about 3.5 kilometres up the road. And typically this is our ripest, richest Chardonnay each year, and takes a little bit more oak. This is all barrel fermented, and it's a very strong flavoured wine. It's got the characters of peaches, yellow flesh peaches going through to apricots, and still quite a firm acid as well. But that's more in the style of Merceau, with that richness and extra buttery texture. The next wine is the Hunting Hill Chardonnay, which is quite close to the winery here on a fairly elevated site, and that is the same clone as the Coddington. It ripens very early as well, but it gives us much more elegance and floral character, this lovely lemon and lime aroma, white flowers, and then on the palate it has this lovely mineral texture and length and beautiful acid. That's more the Puligny Montrachet type of wine. Very, very elegant and goes beautifully with seafood, particularly with crayfish. And finally we have the Mantis Vineyard, which is our best Chardonnay, our best wine overall. It comes from the oldest vineyard we have, which is all Mendoza clone, very low yielding clone that gives us a lot of concentration and richness. On the aroma it often has the smell of pears, and then on the palate it has much more depth and lingering richness than any of the other wines, and that comes from the low yield, but also the older vineyards as well. It's a classy wine, more, it's a Grand Cru standard Chardonnay along the lines of a Corton Charlemagne. So there we have a quick virtual tasting tour of our 5 Chardonnays.